Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 14.
Resolution number 14, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Poirier, that 3 readings be given to a bylaw to execute an agreement to the agreement, to execute an amendment to the agreement between the Corporation of the City of Kenora and Her Majesty the Queen, as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure, for the provision of funding for a dehumidifier to be installed at the Kenora Recreation Centre, and further, that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute this agreement.
Comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 15.
Deputy Mayor, resolution number 15, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Poirier, that 3 readings be given to a bylaw to execute an agreement between the Corporation of the City of Kenora and the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation for the delivery of detailed design and tender specifications to implement the Harbourfront Business Development Plan, and further, that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute this agreement.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 16.
Madam Deputy Mayor, resolution number 16, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chase, that 3 readings be given to a bylaw to execute an agreement between the Corporation of the City of Kenora and Her Majesty the Queen in right of Canada, as represented by the Minister of Economic Development and Official Languages, for the delivery of detailed design, tender specifications to implement the Harbourfront Business Development Plan, and further, that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute this agreement.
Comments or questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 17.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Resolution number 17 is moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Poirier, and it reads that the Council of the City of Kenora hereby accepts the August 2021 Kenora Water and Wastewater Systems Monthly Summary Report as prepared by City Administration.
Kevin, did you have any comments on the report?
No, Deputy Mayor, no.
So I noticed in the last report you brought forward that we were going to begin COVID testing in the wastewater.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, that's regular testing that is done with the provincial authorities. They're the ones that are actually mandating the program. So our job entails just doing the sampling and putting the sampling in, and the results come back to us and are evaluated by the health authority to determine if there's tracers of COVID within the wastewater.
Have we had any reports come back?
Yeah, reports have come back, and they've all come back normal, within range. There were some deviations in some of the reports, but they were minor in nature. And the health authority has not taken any action on any of the reports that we're aware of at this time.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Any further questions, Kevin? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 18.
Deputy Mayor, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chase, the Council hereby adopts the following minutes from various City of Kenora committees. June 29th, 2021, the Muse. September 22nd, 2021, Kenora Public Library Board. September 1st, 2021, Accessibility Advisory Committee. And that Council hereby receives the following minutes from other various committees. June 24th, 2021, Police Services Board, July 8th, 2021, and August 26th, 2021, District of Kenora Home for the Aged, and August 27th, 2021, Northwestern Health Unit, and further, that these minutes be circulated and ordered filed.
Any comments or questions? Charlotte, I noticed we got a rebate in from the Northwestern Health Unit. Do you have the amount of that rebate? Or can you give it to council later?
I can. I'd rather give you the exact amount. I know approximately how much it is, but
And it might be nice to go back from the last 4 or 5 years to see the rebates as opposed to the levies. If we could have some kind of report showing that, I think that would be interesting information.
sure.
Okay, thanks, Charlotte. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 19.
Resolution number 19, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McMillan, that the tender submitted by Peterson Machine and Supply Incorporated for labor and materials related to the wastewater treatment plant grit separator raking mechanism refurbishment be hereby accepted.
Questions or comments? All in favor? Charlotte, do you have a,
$33,911.
so calling the question again on resolution 19. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And resolution number 20.
Deputy Mayor, resolution number 20, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McMillan. That the following bylaws be now read a first and second time and approved in their present form and presented for third and final reading. 133-2021 confirmatory. 134-2021 reduced load restrictions bylaw. Number 135-2021 license of occupation agreement. Number 136-2021 permanently close and declare surplus parts of 12th Avenue South and McCray Street. Number 137-2021 permanently close and declare surplus parts of 10th Avenue South and 12th Avenue South. Number 138-2021 purchase and sale agreement, Kenora District Services Board. Number 139-2021 Kenora Professional Firefighters Association Collective Agreement. Number 140-2021 ICIP Agreement Amendment, Kenora Recreation Center Dehumidifier. Number 141-2021 NOHFC Funding Agreement, Harbourfront Detailed Design. Number 142-2021 FedNor Funding Agreement, Harbourfront Detailed Design.
Thank you, Councillor. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. That brings us to the end of our resolutions of today's agenda. So I have proclamations to read, and I have 4 of them. So it's going to be lengthy. You'll have to bear with me. World Polio Day, October 24th, 2021. Whereas Rotary is a global network of neighbors, friends, leaders, and problem solvers who unite and take action to create lasting change in communities across the globe, and whereas the Rotary motto, service above self, inspires members to provide humanitarian service, follow high ethical standards, and promote goodwill and peace in the world, and whereas Rotary in 1985 launched Polio Plus, and in 1988 helped establish the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which today includes the World Health Organization, U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to immunize the children of the world against polio. And whereas polio cases have dropped by 99.9% since 1988, and the world stands on the threshold of eradicating the disease, and whereas to date Rotary has contributed more than US $2.1 billion and countless volunteer hours to protecting more than 2.5 billion children in 122 countries, and whereas Rotary is working to raise an additional $50 million per year, which will be leveraged for maximum impact by an additional $100 million annually from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and whereas these efforts are providing much needed operational support, medical staff, laboratory equipment, and educational materials to health workers and parents, and whereas in addition Rotary has played a major role in decisions by donor governments to contribute more than $10 billion to the effort, and whereas there are over 1.2 million Rotary members in more than 35,000 clubs throughout the world that sponsor service projects to address such critical issues as poverty, disease, hunger, illiteracy, and the environment in their local communities and abroad, therefore be it resolved that Mayor Daniel Raynard of the City of Kenora do hereby proclaim October 24th, 2021 as World Polio Day in the City of Kenora, and encourage all citizens to join Council and Rotary International in the fight for a polio-free world. Proclaimed at the City of Kenora this 19th day of October 2021 by Mayor Daniel Raynard. Proclamation 21st Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Education Appreciation Day, October 21st, 2021. Whereas years of research confirms the benefits of high-quality child care for young children's intellectual, emotional, social, and physical development and later life outcomes. And whereas child care promotes the well-being of children and responds to the needs of parents and the broader community by supporting quality of life so that citizens can fully participate in and contribute to the economic and social life of their community. And whereas trained and knowledgeable early childhood educators and child care staff are the key to quality and early learning and child care programs and champions for children, therefore be it resolved that October 21st, 2021 be designated the 21st Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Educator Appreciation Day in recognition of the education, dedication, and the commitment of child care workers to children, their families, and quality of life of the community. Now therefore, Daniel Raynard, Mayor for the City of Kenora, do hereby proclaim October 21st, 2021 as the 21st Annual Child Care Worker and Early Childhood Education Appreciation Day in and for the City of Kenora, proclaimed at the City of Kenora this 19th day of October 2021 by Mayor Daniel Raynard. Proclamation Respiratory Therapy Week, October 24th to the 30th, 2021. Whereas the Canadian Society of Respiratory Therapists, CSRT, celebrates Respiratory Therapy Week annually, and whereas this week-long celebration serves to educate the public about the varied roles and responsibilities of respiratory therapists and to raise awareness of the significant contribution made by respiratory therapists across our healthcare system, and whereas working across Canada's healthcare system, respiratory therapists provide essential care to patients of all ages. They are highly trained health professionals dedicated to providing the best possible cardiorespiratory care by staying at the forefront of all available research and technology. They use their expertise in the assessment and management of respiratory diseases, in patient and family education, and in the resuscitation and stabilization of critically ill or injured patients. Respiratory therapists work in hospitals and clinics and in the community, help members of your community breathe easier. And whereas since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, our healthcare system has been relying on respiratory therapists. As frontline workers, they have been tirelessly providing care to those infected by COVID-19. The nature of their role and the care they provide requires them to work alongside critically ill patients, often performing life-sustaining procedures at the patient's head, the most infectious region for providing patient care during a respiratory pandemic. Respiratory therapists have also been performing COVID-19 testing and providing COVID-19 vaccines. And as patients return home to recover from COVID-19 infections, or as they face long COVID, respiratory therapists are there providing respiratory support and education. And whereas respiratory therapists have also played important roles behind the front lines of the pandemic, they have been instrumental in preparing at every level, advising government, mobilizing supplies, designing pandemic ventilators, and adjusting protocols to ensure patients receive optimal evidence-informed care. And they have continued to provide essential care to a wide range of patients across our healthcare system who have not been afflicted by COVID-19. Now therefore be resolved that Mayor Daniel Raynard do hereby proclaim October 24th to the 30th, 2021 as Respiratory Therapy Week in recognition and honor of our respiratory therapists in Kenora, Ontario and Canada who serve a valuable role within our community. Proclaimed at the City of Kenora this 19th day of October 21 by Mayor Daniel Raynard. Proclamation for Ontario Public Library Week, October 17th to the 23rd, 2021. Whereas the public library offers access to resources and services in a variety of media to meet the needs of individuals for education, information, and personal development, including recreation and leisure, and whereas libraries are places where people come to know themselves and their communities, and whereas we recognize that the board and staff of the Kenora Public Library provide a vital service to our community, and whereas the Kenora Public Library welcomes all members of the community to visit one of our library branches to get a library card and discover all the possibilities. And now, therefore, be it resolved that Daniel Raynard, Mayor for the City of Kenora, do hereby proclaim October 17th to 23rd, 2021 as Ontario Public Library Week in the City of Kenora. Proclaimed at the City of Kenora this 19th day of October 2021 by Mayor Daniel Raynard. I'm going to call on Councillor McMillan, who is our council rep at the Kenora Public Library, to make some comments. Councillor McMillan.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I've been chatting with Crystal Alcock, our head librarian. I'm going to share some of her thoughts. The theme this year is One Card, 1 Million Possibilities. This seems like a fitting theme and really highlights how library service has always been beyond the four walls of the physical building. The pandemic may have highlighted how versatile library service can be, but alternative service models are not new in the library world. We have always offered home delivery for those persons unable to come in person. If you want or need resources, we will get them to you. We are known as the place to inquire when you need something a little different, such as a large print or audiobook, because your eyesight is failing. When technology changes or is just out of the scope of your understanding, we are a safe, non-judgmental place to ask questions. We are a place in the community that you can just be. Our physical collection may not hold 1 million items, but with access to the electronic resources available through Overdrive, Libby, Tumblebooks, etc., the possibilities are endless. This past year and a half has been difficult to navigate for staff and our patrons. As like most places, our services and hours were constantly changing and quite unpredictable. People are starting to feel like things are returning to normal, more businesses are opening, and restrictions are slowly loosening. There is a positive vibe in the air. We are celebrating Ontario Public Library Week with a customer appreciation draw for an e-reader. Patrons will be entered in a draw each time they use their library card in the next 2 weeks. In doing this, we are hoping to welcome our patrons back into the library and also to attract new members. This week we'll also be kicking off book sales at both library branches. We have a good amount of discarded items for sale as staff have been busy weeding and refreshing collections. Both the Kenora and Kuwaitan branches are great places to visit with very helpful, friendly, and knowledgeable staff. Get a good book, escape the stresses of life by getting lost in the story. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McMillan. So that concludes today's meeting, but I'm going to go around the table for any community announcements by any of our councillors. Councillor Poirier?
Nothing, Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Chaz?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councillor McMillan?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just share a couple of comments, or read a couple of comments that the week of October 17th to 22nd is Secret Path Week, which is a national movement commemorating the legacies of Cheney Winjack and Gord Downey, who tragically hit. This takes place annually from October 17th to 22nd, and this marks the dates that both Cheney Winjack and Gord Downey joined the spirit world. Cheney Winjack was a resident of the residential school system here in our area. People of Canada are called upon to use Secret Path Week to answer Gord Downey's call to action to do something by creating a reconciliation and furthering the conversation about the history of residential schools. It is important that we keep the meaning, intent of Orange Shirt Day in the forefront, that we listen, learn, and then act upon the calls to action contained within the Truth and Reconciliation Report. I am very confident in saying that this council and the staff within the city are very committed to building the partnership necessary to continue to pursue and to move us forward. I encourage people to take the time to read the Cheney Winjack story. It's short, and you can check for books addressing residential school systems at both the library and the Muse gift shop. As noted in the Maclean's article dated February 1st, 1967 by Ian Adams, and I would encourage people to read it, quote, "He died as the white world's rules forced him to live." Cut off from his people. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McMillan. Well said. Councillor Voss?
Nothing today.
Nothing today. Councillor Van Willingham?
Yeah, thank you. Just on behalf of council, I'd like to thank the Rotary Club for all the work they've been doing. They have an ongoing thing for years and years now, and whether it's a splash park or the water fountain down there. We're very fortunate to have this group of volunteers, the different groups that have faded away over the years here, whether it be the Lions or Knights of Columbus and the different ones, the Moose. and a lot of them. So I'd like to thank the Rotary for their continuing work and what they give back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bellin. And Mayor Dan is on the line. Mayor Dan, did you have any comments? And I don't think Mayor Dan can hear us, so he doesn't have any comments. I'd just like to say I have no comments, but I support Councillor McMillan's comments. I think, as I've said before, we're on a new path in our community and in our country, and some of the stories out there, I think that when you go down to our museum, they have some great books down there, Indigenous books, Indigenous relations, learning. I fully encourage you to go down there and check out all the literature they have there, because you will be amazed. And from a personal point of view, every day I learn. It's just something you learn. And when Councillor McMillan talks about Cheney Winjack, when we were at the September 30th Orange Shirt Day under the tent, one of the Greens came forward to speak to say there was actually 4 boys that left the school that day. And Cheney went east and didn't survive, and the other 3 went west and survived. That's a part of the story I never heard before. So every day is a learning experience. It's tremendous opportunities to learn about the history, and I just encourage everybody. Our library has tremendous books, and the museum has tremendous books. This is an opportunity to learn and educate ourselves, and so going forward we can have a better community and a better country. So I'll call for resolution number 21.
Okay, Your Worship. Deputy Mayor, resolution number 21, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McMillan, that pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act as amended, authorization is hereby given the council to move into closed session at 12:32 p.m. to discuss items pertaining to the following: education and training members of council, 2 matters; disposition of land, there's only 1 matter, not 2; labor relations, 1